Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, and we are coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport, right across from TSA, where it's plenty safe. And here's another guy who leads a very safe life, and we're happy to have him on. Ara Topouzian, he's a good friend and the executive director of the MVCA, the Michigan Venture Capital Association here in Michigan. And welcome back, as always, Ara. It's good to see you.
Yeah, Chris, it's always great talking to you, and that's nice that you feel that I'm safe.
I do. I always feel safe near you. Hey, but along those lines, because
Yeah.
you don't represent people that we would all consider safe,
Mm.
tell everybody about the Michigan Venture Capital Association, what you are, real quick.
Yeah, real quick, MVCA is a 20-year plus trade association, and our members are predominantly investors. I mean, certainly venture capitalists, some angel investors, economic development organizations, universities, and then we've got some private corporate organizations, law firms, banks, that sort of thing that make up the organization. And basically, what we do is a few different things, Chris. We convene the ecosystem together, is how we like to refer it to. And so that's very important. It's vitally important to bring people together, and especially in a post COVID world, and that continues to still be a strength of ours. Advocacy work, so certainly speaking for the investor community and to try and work hard for them. And then certainly there's education, and we try to help with a lot of emerging funds and a lot of emerging managers that are coming up. So quick overview, that's MVCA.
Well, and in the meantime, you talk about moving the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Without MVCA, there's a lot of times these companies that become big would not exist because they just couldn't get started.
Yeah, I mean, I often have said that angel investors and venture capitalists are usually the first ones in the door talking to entrepreneurs, whether it's some pre-seed funding. And again, these aren't rounds that are going to necessarily bring back some returns, but it helps founders and entrepreneurs kind of get going. So it's very much needed, and it's a tough environment. It's been tough environment for the last couple of years for fundraising. So access to capital is always an issue.
So let's look back because I think you're aware of the fact that this year is coming to a close, right?
Yes, I've got a calendar.
You do. Oh,
I do. I have one.
Jeffrey, thank you for sending our calendar. So, so let's talk about 24 and some of the
Yeah.
highlights.
Some of the highlights, we're still a very strong organization. And I say that because we're not a nonprofit that's been around for 100 years, right? Like I said, we've been around a little over 20 years. And so it was a very busy year for us. A lot of events. We just had our annual celebrations, our awards dinner, which is really the pinnacle of what we do as far as networking, which is really great. That's a great event to do, Chris, as you know, you've been to it in the past, because it highlights the community and the work that's being done. So what we're seeing is we're seeing some great entrepreneurs, founders in Michigan. We're seeing funds that are deploying capital, and we're seeing the needle, like I said, move a little bit. But again, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So we've been ramping up what that looks like, for the next couple of years. And so the board has gone through, sort of a sense of belonging strategy planning. And what that looks like is maybe a little bit of us reinventing ourselves with how we do events and how we reach out to the ecosystem.
Or it's interesting because right about when we were starting, maybe a couple of years after, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
there was virtually no venture capital in the state of Michigan.
Well, venture is very small in Michigan comparatively to the coastal regions, right? I mean, it's Michigan. I guess it's not necessarily considered the venture capital state in the world. However, we're not a state that should be overlooked. And we certainly see a lot of out-of-state investors that look at Michigan. So there's partnerships that go on. And as we compare to the Midwest, we're doing okay, but we can be doing better.
Well, the point of this, though, is I want to congratulate you because the way it's grown. I remember having dinner with the Beringia, Michigan guy,
Yeah.
and I said, "What brought you to Michigan?" And he said, "We're looking at it as the land of opportunity because there
Yeah.
were incredible number of startups coming."
Absolutely. Couldn't say it better myself.
So, congratulations to you.
Well,
Uh,
not congratulations to me, really. It's the investors that really go out of their way that to connect with the entrepreneur community and look, they're investing out of state as well. I mean, but having a strong ecosystem like that is very important.
all right, we got about 15 seconds to tell me, is there an event coming up?
No, as you pointed out, we're at the end of our calendar year. So our big event was back in October, which was our annual awards dinner, and that was in downtown Detroit. And we were at One Campus Martius, and thanks to the folks at Detroit Venture Partners helping us out, being a major sponsor of that. And so we had a phenomenal event. I might add that it was the same night as a Tiger playoff, a political rally, and a hockey opener, and we still had over 250 people down there. So what does that tell you?
It tells me you're doing something great, and we all need that. Ara, thanks so much
Appreciate it.
for joining us, Executive Director of the Michigan Venture Capital Association. We'll start the new year with you as well, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris.
Happy holidays.
You too.
All right, you're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Holman. We'll be back with more.